You're listening to the LOZ Podcast Network.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the LOZ Podcast Network. We have another episode today. We talk to a lot of people here at the lake, all over the place with different kinds of businesses. One of my favorite things to do, as you know, is to eat. And one of the places that I love to go is the Reserve. And we're here with one of the owners, Mark Spears of the Reserve. What's going on, my friend?
How you been?
You know what? It's been a good summer. It's been a fast summer.
This was probably one of the fastest summers I felt. It seemed like, in my business, it's, winter creeps by. Winter actually goes really fast until January. And then I feel like January has 65 days.
Right.
February's got another 70. And then, it's like you get into March and you're like, okay, now we got to start getting ready.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah. And then, you've got those projects you kind of have been putting off, and then you drag your feet on them. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, Memorial Day's in 2 weeks. And then it's like,
and we're not ready.
Okay, here we go.
I'll tell you what, you guys, I mean, look, I come in there a lot, you know that, but every time I'm in there, it could be a Monday night, it could be a Tuesday night, it could be a Saturday night. They all seem like weekend nights. I mean, you guys are packed all the time. Yeah,
I mean, it's we opened in 19, so this is year 6. So and that's kind of what it's turned into. Back in the it feels like Sundays are like what a Friday night used to be, and same with Mondays. And what we get then, it seems to be like, you get some of the locals that come back out that maybe didn't want to mess, with the crowds, trying to get in the weekend. Yeah. So then our Sundays and Mondays are packed because it's people sticking around in town, or you got some locals. And then, Tuesdays and Wednesdays are, they're still crazy busy, but like, and then you get the people coming down early for a long weekend that come down on Wednesday or Thursday. And then Wednesday, Thursdays are like Friday nights. And then Friday and Saturdays are just.
Yeah. You guys are killing it. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, I just love it. It's, look, in the middle of the summer on a weekend, you should be busy, because if you're not, then you got real problems. But the fact that you guys are busy every night, you're open, and lunches. And not only that, but you guys are doing some really cool group stuff. I know I stopped in on a Tuesday night not too long ago, and you had a wine dinner going for, I think it was a corporate group, right?
Yeah. So, we're extremely grateful for, everyone that stopped by this summer, locals, tourists, people down checking us out for the first time. We're super grateful for everyone's support, but, it was a local company, investment company, some, contact that I know. I actually coached my son's t-ball team, and he reached out and, they said, hey, we've been interested in doing just kind of like a corporate wine dinner, invite some of our clients in. What do you think? And I'm like, yeah, I would love to do that. And so they sent an invitation out, and they had such a great response. They're like, do you think would you do a second one the next week? So I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And we've been fortunate with some of our like, our corporate events, they started where it was, 50, 60 people or whatever. And then like last week we did another one, and this is our third one with this group, and it started at about 50 or 60 people. And then I get an email like a week before, and he's like, can we do 120?
Oh, can we double it on you?
It was 100 in April, and then they came at 120, and it's, they come down with these groups, and a lot of them are repeat, same people, that are down for a conference. And then they'll start talking like, oh yeah, last year we went to the Reserve. And then they're like, oh yeah, so then they want to
go back.
Yeah. So it's like fortunately, and that's a testament to, Chef Scott and the culinary team. And then, the service staff and bar staff that were able to execute those events smooth and quickly, and the food quality. So it's.
Yeah. And that's one thing I noticed too when I'm there, and I go to a lot of different places, the lake, obviously, but you don't hear any screaming or yelling. Nobody's getting crazy. I mean, your staff knows what they're doing, and, things I'm sure get, to a point sometimes where you're so packed and people are so, trying to get a drink at the bar or whatever, but your staff handles it. I mean, they know how to work through a crowd, which is great when you go there, because, I'm not going to be waiting an hour to get a drink. I'm not going to be waiting an hour to order. It's a testament, I think, to what you do in your training. And obviously I see the same faces year after year. So you keep a lot of your people.
Yeah. I mean, we do our best. I mean, there's times when, something happens and things get clogged up and, bottleneck somewhere, and it takes a little bit of time, or, you've got a table that's just kind of sitting there, and, we kind of allot what we think the table is going to take. And then that's how we kind of build our reservations. And, all it takes.
How do you do that? I mean, you get a group in that's like, and I get it, like I have some friends in town, man, we're catching up and it's, let's go out for a nice 3-hour dinner. But you don't allot for 3 hours.
Yeah, we don't, I mean, there's a couple different ways to handle it. I mean, my staffs and myself, we're very nimble.
Mhm.
You've got to be able to shift. You got to be able to think on your feet. You got to be able to like think outside the box a lot of times and like create tables out of nothing.
Right. Or hey, why don't we move you into the bar? We'll set up a couple tables in there. You can continue this conversation. We want to keep you here. And
I've done that. Hey, can I buy you guys a round of drinks, up at the fire table or up at the bars?
Yeah.
Because I really need that table, and most.
Oh, that's a great thing. I mean,
most of the time people are saying that you do get every once in a while, you get someone that's like, I just spent, this much. I'm just, I'm just trying to
run a business
for the next people, I mean, we've even brought down, like we've got like folding tables that we bring down and put tablecloths on.
Oh, really?
And then if I've got enough space where I think I can fit a table and we need a table, we'll drop a table right there and pull some chairs up and let's go,
I mean, is there any thought into dockside dining? I mean, you got a lot of dock space out there.
But the problem is I need those docks to turn too. Cause I got people circling in the cove waiting for a slip, now if
it never stops, does it?
And then, we've thought about adding additional seating down kind of in like what we used to call the bocce ball quarter down below. But I mean, the building was built in 1932.
Right.
So I can't go back, I can't make the kitchen any bigger.
No.
So, there's only so much food you can execute out of that kitchen. And, I think we pride ourselves on, you can come into our place and, get a table. You can have cocktails, you can have appetizers, you can have salads, entrees, and dessert. Everything cooked from scratch to order, and we can have you out the door in an hour and a half or less.
Yeah.
Sometimes 2, which, sometimes that's so, if I start adding tables.
Yeah. And you want to turn them 3-4 times. I mean, obviously you'd like to turn them 3 times a night.
Some of it's about the commerce, about being able to turn the tables. And then some of it's about, executing the high standard for the guests that are there. If you add a bunch of tables and start trying to do a bunch of other things, and then all of a sudden, now you're waiting an hour for your food, then it's not as pleasant of an experience.
Right.
So,
and you guys, I see a couple of espresso martinis go out of that place every once in a while. You guys do a couple a night there, or what?
I would say so.
A couple hundred?
I think we've been in the triple digits probably a couple times.
Have you really?
Yeah. I mean, it's a testament to, Maddie and the bar staff and everything that, we've kind of reverse engineered a few of our cocktails that, so that we can batch and put them on tap. So like our smoked old fashioned, I mean, we batch that in huge kegs. And then, 2-3 times a week. And then same thing with the blackberry bramble and then the espresso martini. And, once we kind of figured that out, and I mean, it's the exact same cocktail. So what we do is we measure out the ingredients, we stir it exactly how we want it to be perfect. And then we measure everything back out, and then exactly how much dilution to add to the keg. And then it's the exact same cocktail, but now you're just off the tap.
Now you can get
throw a little smoke on it, out the door, and then you've turned what would take, if you had 6 of those come in and you got to make it from scratch, let's say it takes 45 seconds to a minute for each cocktail.
Yeah, you're cutting that down. People are all getting their drinks.
Now you're bringing all those out in 45 seconds.
Yeah, well, people love them. However you're making them, I know they love them because I see them rolling out of the place. I mean, it's amazing. And then the food, look, everybody has, I think, a niche at the lake, right? I mean, if you want to go old school and you want fried lobster tail and you want, the prime rib thing, there's a place for that. You go to Jeffrey's, go to whatever. There's all spaces at the lake, I think, are for people that are looking for different things. But you guys have hit this eclectic center of some traditional stuff and some stuff that's Asian in flavor almost a little bit. And I don't even know how to explain it, but everything's just got that extra couple things to it that just bump it up, and I don't know if that's by design or that's just what the chef does, but it just amazes me. You could make, a potato cake. Let's take, for instance, you guys have a potato cake on one of your dishes. You could have a potato cake. It'd be delicious. Everybody would love it. Your potato cake has 5 or 6 different things in it that just make it off the charts. I mean, it's just like,
yeah, I mean, that's a testament to Chef Scott. I mean, his background, I think in general, the lake should be, just thrilled and fortunate that he's here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're talking about the caliber of a chef that's, he's cooked at the James Beard House in New York. He spent over a decade or more, working with Charlie Palmer running all of his restaurants, who was like one of the original like celebrity chef icons from the Culinary Institute of America. He worked for Wolfgang Puck at Cut in Beverly Hills, so, to have that caliber of a chef, in our backyard. And I mean, I'm absolutely thrilled and fortunate that we get to work together because, the way we do things different is, we serve up composed plates, right? So it's, we design the plate with the starch, with the veg, with the sauce, with everything, and that's how we wanted, that's how I always wanted to do it. And that's how we did it, the restaurants that I ran in San Diego, and that's how Chef did it as well. So, we kind of were thrilled when we got together because, and it's a great thing. I mean, when you go to a restaurant, you choose your protein, then you choice of a salad, and then you have choice of, you want rice, you want this potato, baked potato, and then your veg, and then we just kind of take all of that out of the guest's hands and we create a dish that, we think everything accompanies everything on the plate. And
it is a little different because I know the first couple times I ordered, I'm like, well, I'm used to kind of picking and choosing, and then they're just like, just go with it. You'll like it. And when I go with it, I'm like, that was amazing. Like I would have never put those together. That worked,
Yeah. And Chef went like, he was joking. I think I may have said this on the last podcast that recently he was like leaning into the, the kind of Asian fusion and stuff like that. Cause the flavors are just,
they're so good.
They're bold and they're delicious.
And you don't get it down here. I mean, that's just,
so he leaned into that. Cause I think before he used to always lean into like Italian, and then he kind of goes through phases, and he's constantly researching stuff and looking things up and getting inspiration. I mean, the crazy thing is, the amount of inspiration you can get, from being bored and scrolling on your phone.
Right.
I mean, how many people have just recipe on recipe, like just saved in their phone? Like, I'm going to make that someday. And then it's like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get back to that. But, cause him and I will just send each other like clips of, like you watch, some restaurant.
Yeah.
Show
I saw this is
like
cool.
Like,
let's
hey,
try
this
it.
Looks cool. And then, he'll kind of take a look at it and sometimes put his own little tweak on it, or, we'll mess with it. And if it's never makes it on the menu, maybe if it's just a special, or, maybe we don't do anything with it, but it's kind of fun to have those people to bounce those.
And you have a new menu coming out for the fall, right? You just did it. You put your new fall menu out there. When I say new, you keep stuff on the menu, but you always kind of flip stuff out for the different seasons, vegetables, things that are in season, that kind of thing, right?
Right. So typically you'll see the majority of like the proteins, kind of same number of salads and same appetizers. You'll see the same protein, but like the dish will completely change. So we are, I'm not sure when this will drop. By the time this drops, we'll probably have the entire menu flipped. So, there'll be, I'm trying to think if anything's actually like, I don't know that we're keeping anything.
Really? You're going for a wholesale change?
Like the mussels changed. All the appetizers have changed.
That's cool though. I mean, cause that you look, when you go to the same place a lot, which a lot of people do, you have a lot of people that come back to you. Maybe if they're down 6 weekends a year, they might come to you 3 of those 6 weekends, right? I mean, you're their place. You give them things to choose from, then they come a different time of year, they can try some different things. Right. And that to me is a great way to bring people back in and it's going to be good. So
it's a double-edged sword. You have the, I've been yelled at multiple times for changing the sea bass from like one of the original ones that we had on that we left on for quite a while. And then the mussels always tend to go back to like the chorizo soppressata and the red tomato, our tomato broth in the summer, because it's a staple. Yeah. It's an appetizer. But like in this year, we changed like our tuna quinoa last year that we had with like the curry cream and the crispy quinoa and cilantro and jalapeno. And this year we did like little tuna wrap, tuna cup things. Yeah. Had a handful of people that were, but I mean, I think it's exciting. People look for, we've had the phones been ringing off the hook being like, when are you guys changing your menu? Like, is your menu changed over yet?
Right. We're ready.
Look forward to it.
Yeah. So no, I think it's definitely something that people are going to go out there. They're going to try it. You had some really successful charity events this year too, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, the Kelly Sport and Reserve Night to Reserve Yacht Gala at the end of July was off the charts. It
was packed. I mean,
attendance, I don't know. We had over 500 and something there.
Yeah.
You know, and
on one of the hottest days of the year too.
Always.
It's always a death march.
I'm usually by the time anyone arrives, I'm usually on my third or fourth shirt, trying to hold it together, sunburnt, you know, just a bloody mess. But what a great event. I mean, you know, for those that haven't been, if you've been to the Reserve, I mean, you would walk in and you wouldn't even realize that it's the same restaurant. You know, we basically strike everything, remove all the tables and chairs, bring down these, you know, wine barrels, and then custom tabletops had built, tents everywhere. You know, you've got chefs from all over the community making these little 1-bite plates. You just kind of take a bite and then.
Yeah, it's like tapas on steroids. I mean,
it's
just
wine
roaming around and
wine paired at each chef station. You know, bars are open. Then you've got like a little spritz station for Aperol spritz and, you know, our Hugo spritz and you know, we provide a ton of Fiji. I think I went through like 27 cases of Fiji water that day.
Well, that makes sense on that day.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then, you know, the team over at Kellysport, amazing partners. You know, obviously without them, it's not possible. And, you know, Julie and Kyle and Paul and Ryan, all of them, like putting all the details together, bringing all the beautiful boats over. You know, this year we added the fireworks display.
Yeah. It's kind of a charity event, mini boat show. I mean, it's everything.
Food and wine festival.
Yeah. It's so cool.
Boat show, you know, music. You know, we're super thrilled that, you know, after like 3 years, you know, we feel it's like the event of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I mean, it's a lot of fun, you know, and we it's for a great cause. I mean, we raise a ton of money for Kids Harbor.
Yeah, it's
you know,
great charity.
And, you know, we've got some really cool auction items. Speaking of, like, just beginning of October, Brian Voltaggio from like Top Chef and Top Chef Masters and all those crazy Food Network shows. He flew in town, and we went over to the people's house that won that dinner and cooked them.
Is
dinner.
that right?
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
So they were big foodies, you know, super generous, and, you know, big Food Network fans too. So it was very cool to have Brian
awesome.
in their kitchen, you know, cooking dinner for their family, and it was a really great fun time. So
yeah, that's really become, you know, like you said, a signature event for you guys. And I think you know when you've hit a signature event when people are buying an outfit just for your event. You know that happens at that event. That's the thing.
It's like the white party, you know, like you can't find a white stitch of clothing on the
right.
On the shelves around here, you know, early in the summer. But
so, you know, we touched on the Reserve. We love the Reserve. Everything's, you know, we want to make sure we catch up, but we got a bigger story to talk about. I noticed right on the corner of when I come out of your place there, right at the main street, there's some construction going on. A lot of metal going up. I think you got maybe a roof now on it.
Yeah, they finished. We got a full roof in last week. HVAC, a good portion of it got dropped in last week. We got a lot of the fire suppression lines ran, and they're all sitting there. The rest of them will hopefully get up this week, and they got some of this steel up on the exterior that will be like kind of the storefront and the doors and everything going in. So
it's exciting.
Right,
do you think it's going to be ready for next season? You think, or
I'd be severely disappointed if it wasn't. At some point, you know.
Now we teased.
You never put a date. You never put a date on construction.
No, I know. You learned that
at some point next year. It'll be.
But we did tease on the last podcast. We teased this a little bit, and we talked about that it possibly may have sushi associated with it or some Asian things associated with it. Is that still?
That's it. Yeah.
Part of the deal.
As you kind of face the building from Osage Beach Parkway driving, if you're kind of looking down on it, the left-hand side that's closest to, say, the new Bass Pro, be a separate entrance, completely separate concept, and that will be Sushi by R, which will be like kind of like our Reserve crest.
Oh,
and it'll
sweet.
be like sushi, and then it'll just
Sushi
have
by
our
R.
crest. Yeah. So kind of tied those down.
I'm so pumped for sushi, man.
It's
the
crazy.
lake needs it so bad.
It's crazy because everyone I see, you know, it's like, you know, when you open, you know what, you know, sushi. I'm so excited for the sushi, and it's like nonstop. So I mean, you know, we feel like that's gonna, you know, that'll do well. I need some people to be excited about the other portion
well,
too. But
then we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah.
So we teased the sushi. That's coming nice, solid. I would like to reserve. I'd like to get my name put on one of the stools if I could. But then there's a whole other section going on right next to it.
Yeah. So that's kind of the smallest portion of it would be the sushi, and it'll have like in that same connected to both of them, there'll be, kind of a private dining room too. So we can do small groups, luncheons, and all that sort of stuff that we can close off and do fully private. There'll be some AV in there in case you want to have a meeting, or, sometimes in those pharmaceutical companies come in and do stuff like that. So we designed a room to be able to be utilized for that, but it's also, it kind of opens up and just adds extra seating to either dining room. So
so it's versatile.
Yeah. And then going into the other entrance, you'll kind of, as soon as you walk in, you'll walk right into what would be a butcher counter.
So like a traditional butcher counter of meats and cheeses.
It'll be all of your, normal chops and some seafood and stuff like that. In that area, like in the winter when all that sort of stuff, we'll do some, take and heat up type stuff like fresh pastas.
Oh, nice.
We got the dance studios right down the street and everything. And it's like, I know sometimes when I'm running kids around, it's like, I don't want to take them all out to a restaurant when I get done.
You don't want to go through McDonald's.
I don't want to cook at home. So maybe I grab this soup or whatever it is, or a pasta, and I take it home, throw it in the oven while everyone gets showered up and ready for bed, or when you get
just
home,
heat and serve.
Yeah. Or doing homework. Give me 30 minutes. I don't have a huge mess. I got one pan and I got some plates, you don't have to deal with it. So
that's awesome.
We'll have stuff like that. We'll have some other, local merchandise, and then we'll have some, some stuff that's some sauces, some spices, broths, stuff like that. And, Chef had his own kind of salumi charcuterie line when he was in Hillsborough.
Nice.
So, we'll have some of our own
charcuterie
stuff.
Oh man, that's going to be huge for taking on the boat or taking.
Yeah. Like you want to order a pre-made charcuterie board, you're heading in town, you want a charcuterie board that, you're going to have people over, and now you don't have to go to Hy-Vee and pick up all the stuff.
What a great thing. I mean, I got 12 people coming down on a Friday night. We're barely getting down. We don't have time to do anything. I don't want to leave the house. Stop by, get a nice charcuterie board, get some heat and serve stuff, and I'm ready to go.
And then, so there'll be some other little retail. I mean, it's not going to be a huge retail area, but there'll be some other stuff, in that area. And then, we've got a big, wood-fired oven that'll be like on display, like, so it'll be out in the dining room. So instead of like having that back in the kitchen, we'll have it out there. There'll be a counter around the outside.
Oh yeah.
So you can.
I've seen that concept. Napoli Brothers in St. Louis has something like that.
So you can sit there and watch the chef there. We'll do like big pastas out of that, and some flatbreads, and a handful of things, maybe finish some steaks and stuff like that.
That's cool.
Out of that oven, and you can sit on that counter and watch that guy, build stuff, throw it in the oven, and pull it out and everything. We'll have a bar probably similar size to what the Reserve is, kind of against the back wall. So we'll do, focus again on, fresh squeezed juices and stuff like that for our cocktails, crafted cocktails and decent little wine list. I don't think we'll go as big on the bourbon selection up there.
Well, you got that down the street. So,
but we'll have some of those elements. I think, top tier cocktail and fresh ingredients and stuff like that with your bar program, to me, it's a non-negotiable, really.
Yeah.
I think it's a better product. So, and then, out of the main kitchen, the idea of this place is much more casual than the Reserve. We want to be able to, that anyone comes in, no matter what, for lunch, whatever, super comfortable, smash burgers, a bunch of sandwiches, salads.
Come as you are.
We've got, we're going to be doing fresh pastas and stuff like that too. So we'll have some pasta dishes on there, and then we'll be able to make like homemade fresh pastas that, we can sell in the retail area. So,
kind of take to go.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're talking about like good flour and fresh pasta, it's always interesting to hear people come back from Italy and talk about how much pasta they could eat and not feel like garbage.
Because it's fresh.
And it's like, even when I cook pasta at home, I eat it, I'm just like, ugh, it's just, so I'm excited for that.
Do we have a name for this yet? I mean, I'm kind of biting at the bit on this.
We're getting there, but then at night, what we'll do up there is we'll have a butcher's menu. So it'll be kind of like a one sheet.
Okay.
It'll be like your ribeyes, fillets, pork chops, the fish, like maybe some special pastas and stuff like that. But that's only going to be available for dinner. Yeah. So you want to come in and get a cheeseburger at night? Absolutely. Come in. You want to come in and get
a nice steak,
a bone-in ribeye?
Yeah,
absolutely. We'll do that too. So
I'm a bone-in ribeye guy. So
yeah. So I mean, we've got the sushi going in one spot, and they're completely separate. So like, we're not going to be serving sushi in the main dining room. Sushi is going to be served only in the sushi restaurant. So as far as names, we've been kicking around a ton of stuff, and we've.
By the way, I've been giving him trouble. We've been talking about doing this podcast for about a month now, and he's been putting me off every week because the naming of this has taken on a whole new. That's almost a full-time job.
Yeah. So we're gonna release something today, and we're gonna say this is what we're gonna do. If this thing opens up, late spring, early summer, and it's named something else, don't hold it against me.
That's okay. We can only do what we do today.
Right. So Driftwood Kitchen and Butcher.
Driftwood Kitchen and Butcher. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So we were trying to,
I like the kitchen aspect too. Like that really says everything. I get it. I'm coming in. I can get stuff to take with me. I can get stuff there. It's casual. I can, I love that concept.
Yeah. I mean, you want, when you look at, from an SEO and a marketing standpoint, you want to have butcher somehow in the name so that people realize like that's what they can come in there and just go to the butcher shop.
Right.
Also you can't just call it a butcher if you're a sit down restaurant too, right. So it's like kind of let's come up with a name that incorporates everything that, And
you said you guys are going to be selling spices and stuff. So if I come in and I have a steak from the kitchen and you guys use a particular steak seasoning that everybody loves, you maybe have that for sale too, that I can take, I can go buy steaks and take it home and do one myself if I want to. I love that. I love the ability to kind of, you get something out and you love it and you want to try to, hey, not everybody can go out every night. So come up there and buy a steak from you and buy your seasoning.
Sitting on the dock or sitting on the, on the back porch and grilling for their family or their friends. They get friends in town. They want to get a good cut of meat and, hang out at the house.
And you'll have sides and stuff like that too, right?
Yeah. You'll be able to take some sides home and stuff
that's
like that.
awesome.
So, and we'll have, I'll keep an eye out for, like sometimes, these, beverage distributors have, closeout stuff or they're rolling a vintage over. So they're trying to get rid of, they discount some wines or something like that. So we'll have some, so if you want to stop in and you want to grab your steak, some sort of starch or potato, salad, whatever.
A couple bottles of wine.
And then like you're out the door and like you don't have to, fuss with, trying to park and go through the grocery store or something like that and get all that stuff. Like you want to pop in where you can make it super simple. I mean, that's kind of the goal there too.
Yeah. I mean, the cooking thing is great and we do a lot of cooking at home, but man, one small dish can take up an hour of your time and prep and whatever. And I'm talking like a side, green beans, by the time you're done with all the mixing in, it's so nice to be able to just jump in, grab something to go, heat it up. There's a lot of times when you're entertaining at the lake that's the time you have. You don't have 4 hours to prepare everything.
Right. I mean, who wants to, if you're down here on a Saturday and who wants to spend, 2.5, 3 hours in the kitchen just prepping to cook, during the day just to be ready to cook at 6
Or you got on the boat and you maybe got a little overserved and you don't really have the faculties to prepare anything. You have enough to send somebody up to the store and pick up a few things for you.
I've heard of that happening.
It happens. Dude, this is great. I mean, you're bringing 2 brand new concepts to the lake that are not here right now. The sushi is going to, you could open up a sushi thing out of your trunk and it would probably be successful. But what you're doing is going to be amazing. And then, Driftwood Kitchen and Butcher. That is such a unique concept too. Like just to be able to go in and select what you want, grab a steak, go and have a good meal. It's got to be exciting. How are you going to? You're not going to sleep, or how are you going to run all this?
Yeah, we'll figure it out. The fortunate thing is there, I feel like I should buy a scooter that I can just zip back and
That's
forth
right.
on.
They're only a quarter mile apart.
I think, both Chef and I, so we're Chef's going to be a chef partner on this one as well. So we're excited about that. But he's, from his background in the last 10, 15 years with Charlie Palmer, like, he was Charlie's, corporate executive chef. So he'd have a home base of a restaurant, but he'd also be overseeing multiple
he knows how to train
in multiple cities.
Yeah.
When I was in San Diego, numerous places, you're running multiple outlets, whether it's, from some of the hotels where I had, high end chef driven restaurant on the ground floor that's running, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then we'd have a coffee shop, we'd have our banquet team. And then we'd also had a rooftop pool bar, separate menu overlooking the Padre Stadium. So it's like, it's a matter of just kind of, you figure out like, when you need to be where and for how long, and then, putting the right people in place to.
So let's talk about that. Are you opening up job openings for this new location yet? Are you going to hand select, or what are you doing?
No, we'll start probably the first part of the new year. We'll really lean into that, try and lock some people down and get that opened up. It's just tricky down here at that time of year, because you've got, every business down here in March and April are trying to ramp up their staff.
Right.
So everyone's kind of,
but these are all going to be year-round concepts, right?
Yeah.
So that right there says a lot. Like, I mean, if you can go work at a place and it's going to be open all year round,
right?
That gives you a lot of security on knowing you're going to have, work. Because
and that's a lot of the places down here are seasonal work, and you get a lot of people that are just living down here seasonally, taking advantage of the commerce down here for the summer, and they're going to come down and help some small businesses out, make their money, and some of them go back to school or whatever it is. So, this is a great endeavor, for full-time locals.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, we're really excited about it.
I'm excited about it. I can't wait. This is going to be huge. I just think these two concepts, like I said, that there's nothing like it. They're both brand new concepts. And you guys knowing what you've done at the reserve. I mean, that's the other thing too. Like, you don't have to wonder about how it's going to be. We've all seen what you've done at the reserve. We've all seen how you guys put it together. It's going to be, you're going to hit out of the park, man. It's going to be huge.
Yeah. Hopefully the pedigree that we've been able to establish down there, will, those people, I don't know if I'm going to like it. It's like, if they've been in the reserve, hopefully they enjoy their experience.
Where do you go for a sushi chef? I mean, is there local sushi chefs here? Or
well, fortunately,
bring somebody in?
We've had Cameron, our butcher, who's been working for us for a few years. He does all of our fish butchering and all of our meat butchering at the reserve. Was heavily involved in some sushi restaurants in the Caribbean, before one of the last hurricanes, before he moved back for good. But so he's pretty well versed in it.
Nice.
Sushi's kind of one of those things too, where, the rice is extremely important. I think, the rice is almost the key. Fish is the fish. The rice is like, one of the most important things, and, putting all the components together and then writing the menu. And then, a lot of it's, the technique and muscle memory and stuff like that, and training. But and there's just some of the sides and some of the other fun stuff that we'll be able.
Will you have a sushi bar you can sit at, like the whole the
there'll be a little counter. I mean,
counter bar.
I want to think maybe 6 to 8 people.
Nice.
Is in the counters.
I love that because
space, but
you jump in there if you're by yourself. You can jump in
for sure. I mean, I love sitting at the bar and watching chefs and people work. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun for me.
I'm telling you, man, this is going to be huge. I'm so happy for you guys. So happy to see the building coming out of the ground.
Yeah.
I know it's not as fast as you'd like it, but it'll.
I mean, it's great that whole little corridor is going to be nuts here in the next couple of years. With Bass Pro, it's always when you have Johnny Morris doing press releases, you feel like things are moving along, and that goes in a mile away, and then.
The shootout moved over by you there, so now you got that,
and then then you got the Oasis going in, just right across the bridge to that little corridor.
Yeah, there's a lot coming to the lake. It's and we need more places. I mean, let's face it. I mean, you'd love to have. Everybody's going to be full that's out there that's doing it right. But coming up with a few new locations is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, what's the saying? All tides raise the ship. We want everyone to be successful, and I think when you look at all the different cool places to go, from backwaters to Dog Days and Wobbly Boots and the cave and all those sort of things, like the more places there are for people to enjoy themselves when they're down here and have that experience, then next year when they're kind of lining out where they want to go and what they want to do, and
get the LOZ app out and start looking through and start
LOZ
picking.
App, and it's like, okay. Or come down for the shootout, some of those events, but it's just, when people go home and they have a great experience everywhere they went down here, when they look at their calendar next year and they're, especially if they're local Midwest people and they realize they want to fly to Florida or fly somewhere to go on vacation, like, why don't we just rent a house or rent a place down at the lake or a loft, and then shoot down here and then they have a great time. I mean, it's
well, now you got even more. You're always going to go back to the reserve. Let's face it. That's a mainstay. You got to keep that on your schedule. You got to go get sushi by R. Is that what we're talking?
Yeah.
Sushi by R. And then Driftwood Kitchen and Butcher, right next door. For now, that's what we think the name's going to be. We're going to go with that.
Roll yeah. So if you drive by, if you're in between Walmart and what would have been, or what is the outlet mall there, you can see the building's progress as it goes up.
It's going to be easy to see and easy to stop by, and it's convenient right in the middle of town. I mean, we're excited. Congratulations on all your success. I'm really happy for you guys and can't wait for the new concept. Please save me a seat at the sushi bar. I know you guys are going to be overrun. There's going to be a line out the door.
Put a placard right.
I got to get a special pass or something. I don't know what it is, but guys, thanks so much for joining us today on the LOZ Podcast Network. Mark, always a good guy to come in and talk about what's going on with food, and maybe we need to get the chef on sometime. Maybe we'll bring him with us on here.
I'd love to come on.
Yeah, we'll bring Scotty on. We'll talk a little food, but please get over to the Reserve this fall. Brand new menu, all kinds of stuff going on, and then come the spring or late spring, we're looking at trying to get that new place opened, right? So,
yep. And then a couple of things for the Reserve this winter. I know people have been asking. I know we were wrapping this up.
That's okay. We got dates. Let's go.
Yeah. So the 13th of November, we're going to do a wine dinner. That one will be our Wagner family.
Okay. So
some of the Camus spinoffs we'll do with that one. December 5th. We're going to celebrate the repeal of Prohibition.
Okay.
So we do a Prohibition dinner. We do some classic cocktails. Chef does a creative menu. We throw on some old Prohibition style clothes and playlists and stuff like that.
I love it.
Something to do in December.
Little flapper dresses and all that.
We've always celebrated. I mean, most people that come Reserve like to have a cocktail, so we might as well celebrate the repeal of Prohibition on right. December 5th. And then on January 8th, there's an old tradition like from the 30s. It's called beefsteak dinner.
Okay.
So what it is there used to be just like a town hall, like a huge table, and it was like they don't give you any silverware. They give you an apron.
Okay.
And then it's just everything's family style.
Really?
So it's but everything's kind of cut in bite size. So it's like it could be like sausage, pork steak, steak, filet, and then you've got like some potatoes and some gravy. And they used to serve like Schlitz beer, and so we'll have some wine and some beer, and it'll just be, it's gonna be super limited seating, but just a cool event we've been wanting to do for a couple of years, and we've done some research on it, and it's just bringing something back from the 30s.
Yeah, it's fun, man. I mean, it's January. Let's do something fun.
Yeah, and it's just like everything's family style. You got a big group of people, a couple of pitchers of beer on the table, bottles of wine. You're just kind of, having fun, hooting and hollering, eating, no silverware, wiping stuff awesome. On your apron. Right. So it'll be cool. And then the 28th of January, we'll do another wine dinner. And then on the 18th of February, we'll have an additional wine dinner. And then we'll probably do our last one on the 11th of March. So that kind of
get you through the winter.
Yeah.
Now, how do people sign up for this stuff? Do they just call you?
Yeah, just give the restaurant a call.
Which you can find them right in the app. Go to the LOZ app. Go to Fine Dining. They're right there. You hit a button. You don't have to remember the number. You just hit a button and they're talking to you.
And we'll send you some flyers.
We'll put it on the event site.
We'll put it on the event site, and then our socials. We usually, couple 2-3 weeks out, we'll post it and we'll keep reposting it. So if you're in town,
I highly recommend you get out to one of these. I mean, you guys do such an amazing job at these dinners, and it's just a unique way to kind of experience something.
It's 5 courses, chef writes the menu and we pair it with a wine from a winery. A lot of times we'll have someone from that winery or come down and talk about the wines. And
nobody's going home hungry or thirsty.
No, and then we typically, some of the wines that we're able to try, you're able to purchase and take home, or we'll have them delivered and come back and pick them up. They're just a fun event, it breaks up the month a little bit and gives you something to do. You get to have, and it gives our culinary team just an excuse to be like super creative, think outside the box, bring different product in that we don't normally have in house and play with it. So they're a lot of fun.
And let's face it, it's January, February. I mean, you got to get out and do something.
There's 75 days in January. You got to find something to do.
That's awesome.
And then, starting in November, probably we'll release this on our social. Chef and I were literally just talking about this yesterday, day before. On Thursdays, we were talking about doing a preview night.
Oh, okay.
So picking, it may be a cheeseburger, it may be a salad, it may be a sushi roll, it may be just something, as we're trying to kind of push through our recipe testing
for the new place
and R&D. So we'll just have like 1 or 2 items that will be, a preview of what you might see on the menu at the new place on Thursdays.
That's fun
through the off season. So we kind of think about like, we need to start recipe testing anyways. So
yeah,
why don't we pick something, you know, on Saturday, we talk about it and then we'll announce what we're going to be serving, you know, and then
on Thursday,
on Thursday, and then you can get a little preview of something you might see up at the new place.
Well, there you go, guys. You don't have to wait for it to open up because you get a preview of some of these menu items on Thursday at the Reserve. That's a cool idea. I think that's fun.
It'll be fun, yeah.
Well, hey, listen, we've given you a lot of reasons to get out and eat, and a lot of reasons to go to the Reserve for the rest of the winter, and a lot of reasons to kind of get ready for the 2 new concepts coming in. It's going to be amazing. Driftwood, Kitchen and Butcher, and the Sushi Bar by R, right?
Yeah.
And both those things, I know they're just going to be incredible, and everybody's going to be excited about doing this stuff with you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. Listen, guys, we'll be back next week with another episode of the LOZ Podcast Network. Make sure you get by, see my buddy at the Reserve, tell Mark hi, sign up for a couple of these dinners while you're there. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.